Okay, in this video I'm going to mention 5 things that to me proves existence of God definitely. The first one is water. Now, water is a miracle substance. It's a universal solvent, but water has some very interesting properties that no other liquid has. For example, its surface tension. When you hold if there's a pond on the ground and touch a towel tip, and the water comes out. And that's because of the surface tension of the water. And that's essential for water to go up plants. And then without that, you wouldn't have trees and plants. The second very important feature of water is that when it freezes, it expands. No other liquid does that. And that's absolutely essential for weathering or sand or soil to form. Without that, you wouldn't get soil. And also without that, there wouldn't be any life in the oceans, and which was very critical for life to start. And also water attaches itself to many other substances or elements. That's why it's a solvent. I mean, I can do a whole video on the extraordinary properties of water. It is like a designer substance created specifically for life to exist. The second thing that, in my view, that proves the existence of God, the earth itself. Like when you look at the earth, look at Venus, look at Mars. Venus is a hell, Mars is a dead desert, and in the middle you've got this beautiful planet called Earth, which has many fantastic features, like a magnetic field that protects us from the cosmic rays. It's got this amazing atmosphere which sustains breathing. It's got liquid water, and the water is not in the middle of the planet. It's just on the surface, covering nicely, very thinly, by the way, spread. And it's amazing planet. And we are looking for, at the moment, scientists have found thousands of planets, but most of these are just gas giants. And I will do a separate video on is Earth the only Earth in the universe? But when you just look at the many things that make this planet like a living being itself, it's an extraordinary ship that we travel on this ship faster than a speeding bullet around the sun, but we don't even feel it. The third thing, in my view, that proves the existence of God is snowflakes. Now, snowflakes is a very interesting entity. They are beautiful crystals and structures, and you can see some of those images as I talk through. But what is extraordinary about snowflakes, as you know, the snow or the water ice crystals form when water freezes from liquid to solid state. So we're really talking of atoms, like particles of water, arranging themselves in a particular shape. There's nothing in between, no cause and effect that could really explain that. Really, literally, atoms of water are piling up on one another to form the snowflake. How do they know that? How do they do it? How do they know one arm is a particular design of a hexagonal shape and the other arm is the same, has to be the same design? How do atoms know this? It's quite extraordinary. And if we explain, say that, there's some sort of a pattern that, or there's a law that makes water molecules pile up in a particular pattern or a way that which produces the water crystals, then we should only see one crystal. How can we see countless designs of water snowflakes? This is quite extraordinary. I think it's a product of that artistic design that I was talking about in other videos. The fourth evidence or fourth thing that in my mind proves the existence of God is the DNA. Now, DNA is an extraordinary substance. We definitely know that it carries information. It's not a random collection of atoms coming together, forming the DNA. There's a deliberate order to information being actually coded. If you see a book, you say, well, this is a product of an author. You see DNA, it's like a book. It must be the product of a maker. Somebody has to have authored that, and that can only be a creator. Just a human genome, for instance, has 3 billion letters. If you put all of that as a book, it would be 1,000 volumes of an encyclopedia. Each volume would have about 1,000 pages. It's a huge amount of information. And if we assume that all these things are from a simple bacteria, simple DNA, it just evolves, it's like saying that the Microsoft Windows that we have now is the evolution of Atari by itself. But we definitely know that that didn't happen by itself. There's a Microsoft Corporation, thousands of IT analysts and programmers have been working on it for years to produce Microsoft Windows. So what produced DNA? And also the different chains on the DNA, there is no cause and effect that explains why you should have a particular sequence, because every DNA is different. So that's number 4. Number 5 thing that, to me, that explains God or proves God's existence is the human brain. Now, the human brain, we say it's the most complex organism or entity in the entire universe. You've got probably 200 billion stars in the universe and maybe trillions of planets. In the brain, there are 100 to 200 billion neurons, and each one of these neurons make at least up to 10,000 synaptic connections, each neuron. So the permutations of the connections in the brain between neurons is almost infinite, trillions and trillions and trillions. And this entity, the brain, actually works. It makes calculations, it is self-aware, it perceives things, it has thoughts, it's got feelings. How did this come about? To me, is a miracle. It's extraordinary, and it can only be the product of a higher knowledge, higher power. And these 5 things, in my view, water, earth, snowflakes, DNA, and the human brain, they prove God's existence definitely. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel.